Brothers and sisters, a very good morning to all of you. Yeah, welcome to our morning service. Thank you for coming. You have many other things to do as a busy Singaporean, right? But you have chosen to come to VF. So I'm very happy to meet all of you today. Okay, so today's topic is about one of the poems. Okay, one of the few Buddhist poems, I would say, that I've come across, that I came across actually about 30 years ago. Okay, and I've always benefited from the sayings in these poems, in this poem up to this present day. So I thought today I'll use this opportunity to share with all of you. Okay, the title of this poem is called Dhammavadaka. Okay, Dhammavadaka. Later we'll read through. Okay, we'll read through, and then I will check with you whether have you read this poem before. I think it's been like put in a poster and posted somewhere in BF. I don't know if you realize. Okay, so maybe you come in and out of BF without realizing there's a poster of Dhammavadaka. Okay, so shall we just put our palms together, and then we'll read through. Dhammavadaka. Remember always that you are just a visitor here, a traveler passing through. Your stay is but short, and the moment of your departure unknown. None can live without toil, and a craft that provides your needs is a blessing indeed. Not toil without rest, fatigue and weariness will overtake you, and you will be denied the joy that comes from labor's end. Speak quietly and kindly, and be not forward with either opinions or advice. If you talk much, this will make you deaf to what others say, and you should know that there are few so wise that they cannot learn from others. Be near when help is needed, but far when praise and thanks are being offered. Take small account of might, wealth, and fame, for they soon pass and are forgotten. Instead, nurture love within you, and strive to be friend to all. Truly, compassion is a balm for many wounds. Treasure silence when you find it, and while being mindful of your duties, set time aside to be alone with yourself. Cast off pretense and self-deception, and see yourself as you really are. Despite all appearances, no one is really evil. They are led astray by ignorance. If you ponder this truth always, you will offer light rather than blame and condemnation. You, no less than all beings, have Buddha nature within. Your essential mind is pure. Therefore, when defilements cause you to stumble and fall, let not remorse nor dark foreboding cast you down. Be of good cheer, and with this understanding, summon strength and walk on. Faith is like a lamp, and wisdom makes the flame burn bright. Carry this light always, and in good time the darkness will yield and you will abide in the light. Good. Okay, so now I want to check in. Yeah. Has any one of you read this poem at least once in your life? Can I have a show of hands? A few of you. Very good. Yeah. So I'll say the majority is your first time reading this poem. Yes. You like this poem? Yes. Good. I hope you will continue to read more even after today's talk. And the more you read it, right, the more you may gain more insights into it. Yeah. I hope you will take time to memorize it even. Yeah. I memorized it when I was young in uni days. But I think now I can't memorize anymore. Getting old. Yeah. Okay. So actually the words are quite simple. And then the meaning, we can say is simple to understand. But is it maybe a bit difficult to attain? Can I say that? Yeah. That's the problem we face with Dharma, right? Yeah, we can understand word by word, all the words we understand, but wow, how to practice it and how to put it into daily life and how to attain the truth inside, that's the challenge, right? Yeah. So today's talk, since we don't have much time, right? So instead of just going through the meaning of the poem, so it's more of how we can so-called try to put it into practice in our daily life. Would that be more practical? Yes? Okay, good. But in case there are certain lines, certain parts that you don't understand, feel free to put up your hands and chat with me, okay? But I'll still try to go through stanza by stanza. Now I suddenly feel like I'm a literature teacher. So all the words come out, stanza, and you find that there are metaphors and similes inside. You realize? Any one of you is a literature teacher here? Anybody? No? I didn't always do well in my literature when I was in secondary school, but I think that's because they didn't introduce us Buddhist poems. I think I'll score better if they were Buddhist poems. Yeah. Okay, hopefully. Okay, so let's look at the first stanza. Okay, so the first stanza, there's already a metaphor here. Okay, what's the metaphor here? So we are like what? We are like a visitor, right? We are like a traveler in this world. Okay, so Singaporeans like to travel, right? So when you go and stay in a hotel, do you cry when you have to leave your hotel? Yeah. Do you cry when you need to leave this world? Do you feel sad the time when you need to leave this world? Can we try to treat it like a hotel stay here? How difficult is this? Yeah, we get so attached, right, to this world. Yeah. So it's good to always remind ourselves we are just a visitor here, okay? It's a short stay, right? How do you find your stay so far? Do you find that it's like, how come, wow, it's like goes on and on, or do you treasure each day? Do you find that life is considerably short? I need to ask those older ones. The younger ones won't understand, I think. Eddie? How do you find? You are considered young, right? Short. Time flies. Even for you, a young guy. Okay, let's ask those in your 50s and above, okay? Half a century. So far, how do you find your stay here? It has been half a century. Any feedback? Anything to share? Those... actually, majority of you are not in your 50s, I think. You look all quite young. Okay? Yeah, so especially those who are older, you'll find that, hey, how come? It's like, how did all these 50 years pass? Right? Yeah, and the more, you grow older, the more you find that, wow, life is really short. So these are truth, okay, that we need to remind ourselves, okay, it's really, really temporary. I'll stay here, okay. And then we come with nothing, and we leave this world with a lot of things. A lot of things, but we cannot bring all of them with us. Okay? I learned most of my Dharma in Mandarin, in Chinese. So there's this saying that we say a lot in Mahayana Buddhism. I'll say in Chinese first. 万般带不去，唯有业随身. So, should I translate? Yes. Yeah, it means we can't bring anything with us. But what do we bring? We bring our karma. Okay? So that's actually something for us to remember. Okay? So what kind of karma are you creating during your short stay here that you are bringing with you? Okay? Good. So far, it's good to so-called get feedback from you. So far, have you been trying to live your life knowing about what we call anicca? What's anicca? Impermanence. So far, do you try to live your life according to this law of impermanence? Can I have a show of your hands? If you do, can I have your hands? Not all the time. Okay. So all the time we have those hands. Huh? Some of your time, can I have your hands? Some of your time, especially when we are reminded, right, by some impermanence happening around us, okay? Then we are reminded. After that, we forget. Okay, very good. Okay, so maybe from today onwards, I'll encourage you to try to remember, try to apply in our lives more often than before. Okay, impermanence. So impermanence so that we do not procrastinate, right? We do whatever we think we want to do, yeah, before we don't have the time to do them anymore. Okay, very good. Okay, so we have the first stanza here. Okay, yeah. Interestingly, see the last sentence of this stanza, the last part of this stanza says, "And the moment of your departure unknown." So we always say, life is certain, death is uncertain. See, you all can memorize. Okay, so that's the tricky part. But having said that, if you already know when's your moment of departure, how do you think it will be like for you? Do you think that's something good? If you already know, when are you departing? At what age? How's that? Huh? Can plan better. Wow. Okay, but the tricky part here is we don't know. So also in Chinese, there's a saying that says, 无常先来还是明天先来啊? So it means what? It means we don't know whether the next life comes first or tomorrow comes first. Make sense? All right. Some may not live to tomorrow, right? So impermanence may come first. Okay? But are we being pessimistic here? Ayo, Shifu, you talk about impermanence right at the start. my good Sunday morning spoil. You remind us about impermanence. And actually in Chinese Buddhism, we talk about the great impermanence. 大无常. What's the great impermanence here? And I'm reminding you. Okay? What's the great impermanence? Don't know. What's the greatest impermanence that you can experience in this world? Louder? Death. Very good. Death. That's the greatest impermanence that we can have. Okay? So be reminded. Okay, it's not pessimistic. It's actually being very practical, I'll say. Okay? If you know your basic Buddhism well, right? If you know life of the Buddha well, so what prompted the Buddha to go in search of the truth so that now we have Dharma? What prompted the Buddha? Yeah, he saw 3 sins, right? Yeah, what were the 3 sins he saw? Old age, sickness, death. Very good. He saw a sick man, he saw an old man, he saw a dead man. So how many times have you seen a sick man and an old man and a dead man? How many times? So are you awakened already? Yeah? Huh? Have you, yeah, or are you going to be in search of the truth, let's say, because you have seen so many? Yeah, so that's the part we see, and then we get reminded, I'll say, but after that we easily forget, right? Yeah, so this first stanza, right at the start, we're talking about impermanence. And actually, in Dharma, we talk about the 3 characteristics of existence. You heard before? What are the 3 characteristics? Any idea? No idea? Anicca, and then anatta, yeah, dukkha, right? Dukkha, anatta. So in Chinese Buddhism, we actually have 4. Yeah, we call them Dharma seals, okay? Dharma seals, like Dharma chops. Why do we say they are chops and seals? In daily life, what do you use seals and chops for? To confirm something, right? Confirm, guarantee, chop, something like that. Okay? So what are being so-called confirmed here? These are the 3 things that are confirmed. Okay? They are the truth that we should stand by. Okay? So first, so it's said here, right? It's anicca, impermanence. So this is the truth. So anything that we call truth, right, must be so-called in accordance with this. Okay, it should be of impermanence. It should be about impermanence. Then the second one, dukkha. Okay, it should be talking about so-called the dissatisfactions of this life. Okay, and third, anatta. It should be talking about non-self nature of ourselves, of every phenomena in this world. Okay, so in Chinese Buddhism, we talk about the 4th one. Sometimes we delete the dukkha part. We talk straight about nirvana. So anything that's according to the truth must talk about nirvana. Nirvana being the cessation of suffering. Okay, so this can help us, especially in this age, in this Dharma degeneration age. Sometimes we go to teachings and then we don't know whether we are following orthodox teachings, let's say, so we can use this Dharma seals to help us, okay, whether it's accordance to true Dharma. Okay, very good. Okay, so any questions regarding this first stanza? Okay, and you just promised me, right? You from today on, you start to try to live life, okay, like a visitor here, okay, like a traveler here, okay, and be as non-attached, if not as least attached to this world as much as you can. Okay? Okay, good. Okay, let's look at the next stanza. Okay. So, in a way, this is also talking about in Buddhism we have the 8 noble paths, right? Noble eightfold paths, right? Okay, so this can be talking about, let's say, our right livelihood. Okay, so right livelihood. So here it says, yeah, none can live without toil. Okay, and the craft that provides your needs is a blessing indeed. Yeah. So for everyone seated here, would you say, those who are working, would you say you love what you do and you do what you love? Yes? Can I have a show of your hands? Those of you, wow, so lucky. Loving what you do and doing what you love, that's actually a blessing. Since we spend so much time, right? We spend more than half our lifetime working, right? So it's good that you love what you do, okay, and do what you love. Okay, but is it in accordance with right livelihood? We must also make sure. In case you loving what you are doing now is like killing all the time. Okay, make sure it's right livelihood. Okay, very good. So here it says, more importantly, right, is the next sentence that says, but if you toil without rest, fatigue and weariness will overtake you, and you will be denied the joy that comes from labor's end. Oh, by the way, you see that the poem actually rhymes quite a bit. Rhyming. Okay. So, do you think, okay, the statistics that have been showing, right, that Singaporeans work the longest hours. Have you all seen reports like this? Do you agree? Singaporeans work long hours. Yeah? Are you one of them? Are you one of them? Do you work average of more than maybe 9-10 hours a day? Can I have your hands? More than 9-10 hours? Wow, so you belong to the category, yeah? Long working hours. Okay, but if you enjoy what you do, it doesn't feel that long, right? Yeah. Okay, good. So, here is saying, interestingly, so in Dharma terms, try not to work too hard. Ayo, is it in accordance with government ideals? We have, hardworking Singaporeans, but here is saying not to work too hard. Okay, so we always talk about middle path, right? Okay, so yes, you can work, okay, but not too hard. Yeah. Especially is we are talking here about having more time for. Later we'll explain more for so-called time with yourself, time alone, quiet time. So if you work all the time, do you think you have enough time for yourself, for more silence in your life, for more contemplation? Yeah, even the meditation just now, right, I could only give you 5 minutes. I wanted to give you more, but I was told to stop at 12. I have 9 stanzas to go through, so I could only give you 5 minutes. Do you feel it was short, the meditation just now? Too short, right? 5 minutes was too short, right? Okay, so you say this yourself, okay? So would you give yourself at least 10 minutes each day meditating from now on? Yes? Can I have your hands? Wow, thank you. Yeah, every time I speak to groups, right, I'll encourage them to spend some time, okay? It doesn't need to be a lot. It can be just 10 minutes, but you do it every day, okay? Or whatever form of meditation that you like, and then you do it every day, and you will definitely see the results. Okay? Very good. Okay, so here, okay, this part is quite easy to understand. Shall we move on to the next stanza? Okay, so now this has to do with the other aspect of the Noble Eightfold Path, which is about right speech. Very good. Okay, right speech. So here it says, speak kindly. Okay, speak quietly. Okay. Usually we say, how do we define right speech? What are the 4 aspects? What are the 4 aspects? Huh? What about one of the 5 precepts? Yeah, no lying. Okay, this is definitely one of the 4. What are the 3? Yeah, very good. Harsh speech, okay? Harsh speech. Abusive speech, definitely not. And what else? Yeah, 祈语. Wow, some of you learn your Dharma in Chinese. What's 祈语? Okay, we say idle talk. Okay, idle talk, idle chattering. And what's the last one? Yeah, divisive speech, okay, whereby A and B, and then because of your speech, they are no longer in good terms. Okay, so that's the 4 aspects. Okay, but the Buddha, when he was talking about so-called right speech, there are many others, which some of you mentioned just now. So it's also about speaking the truth, right? Speaking at the right time. Okay, yeah. And then speaking, here it says, kindly, gently, affectionately. Okay? Good. So, interestingly, here it says, right, if you talk much, this will make you deaf to what others say. So, I remember those days when I was learning to be a counselor, when we learn about basic counseling. So at first I thought we will be taught to learn how to so-called give advice, right? How to say the right words, etc. But the first basic skill that we learn wasn't about talking at all. It's about, how come you all know? Huh? Have you learned basic counseling? Yeah, it's about listening. Okay, we have to learn, what are the different ways to listen attentively. Okay, so it's so important. So in everyday life as well, okay, if we talk lesser, that can help us listen more, and then we can we can learn more through this process as well. As it says here, okay. First, it will make you deaf to what others say, right? And then before this, you can also, the next one actually, you should know that there are few so wise that they cannot learn from others. Okay? Very good. So actually in Chinese words, Chinese words, they are constructed by a number of, let's say, other words. So the traditional Chinese word of listen, actually, it doesn't just have a ear there. It has another word there. What's the other word? Yeah, Xin. Okay, my name is there. Xin. Yeah. So it means listen with your heart. So actually, that's very important. A lot of times we just listen with this one. Sometimes you don't even listen with this one. Right? We are like, a lot of times, not really listening. Okay? So the real listening is listening with your heart. Okay? Very good. So, like I said, these are very, very basic Dhamma, I'll say. But more importantly is how you apply them. Okay? How you apply them in your life. So, would you say you conform to right speech all the time? Or are you guilty? Sometimes, maybe as mothers, right? A bit abusive because of some emotions, right? Etc. Okay? Yeah. Okay, so would you want to be more gentle in your speech? Yeah? From now on? And really watch what you say. Yeah. The other so-called metaphor for so-called speaking, right? It's like it can be like a sword if you are not careful, right? Our tongue can be like a sword. What does that mean? It can harm someone, maybe kill someone even through your words. Okay, so we need to be very careful with what we say. Yeah. So that's why in Buddhism, in the 10 so-called virtuous actions, out of the 10, 3 are in accordance with our body, 3 in terms of the mind, actually 4 in terms of speech. Okay, so that shows how speech is important as well. Okay, very good. Okay, so let's move on to the next stanza. Okay. Be near when help is needed, but far when praise and thanks are being offered. Yeah. Okay. Would you say, as a Buddhist, you are one of the people who's always there when help is needed, or you run away when there are, responsibilities? Okay. So in Buddhism, we talk about this term called Kalyana Mitra. Have you heard before? In Pali, it's Kalyana Mitta. What's the meaning of this word? Huh? Yeah, it means noble friend. Okay, noble friend, or virtuous friend, or just good friend. Okay, Kalyana Mitta. So, what constitutes a noble friend? Are you all noble friends to one another? Huh? Do you know? Okay, anybody heard before the word Kalyana Mitta? Can I have your hands? Quite a number of you. Huh? Okay, very good. Okay, so how would you define a noble friend? And do you think you are one of them? Huh? Silence? How is a noble friend different from just a good friend in ordinary terms? Okay, so sorry. Very good. So her definition of a noble friend is one who encourages others, okay, to do good and avoid evil. Okay, and do you think the Buddha can be considered our noble friend? Even though he's no longer with us, his teachings, right, can really help us, okay, to be noble friends to others as well. Okay, so to avoid evil and to not to do all good, right? So that's definitely needed. But what's the other important aspect of Buddhism? To do all good, to cease all evil, and what's the third one? Yeah, because all religions talk about doing good, right? All religions talk about avoiding evil, right? But do all religions talk about purifying your mind? Maybe not very specifically or explicitly. Okay, so in Buddhism, we have this important aspect of purifying our mind. So a noble friend would be someone who encourages you to purify your mind. Okay, yeah. Okay, so I hope that from now on you will try to be noble friends to one another. That's when you start to ask each other, hey, have you done your meditation today? Have you done some good deeds today? Yeah? Okay, things like that. Okay, very good. So more importantly is to practice. Also remind one another to remember to come for morning service every Sunday. Okay? Yeah. Okay, good. So, yeah. So here it says, be near when help is needed, but far when praise and thanks are being offered. Take small account of might, wealth, and fame, for they soon pass and are forgotten. Okay. So, just now I was talking about, let's say, metaphors and similes. In one of our Mahayana Sutras, we talk about using metaphors, okay, to help people understand about Dharma. And actually, the Buddha, right, in Mahayana context, he used a lot of metaphors to help so-called the wise to understand. Okay, in Chinese, we say 智者以譬喻得解. So the Buddha said that, okay, the wise can understand through metaphors and parables. Okay, so are you all wise people here? Yes, right? I hope you are, huh? Okay, so we shall now use parables. Okay, so talking about this, it reminds me of one parable that I read also many years ago, maybe also about 30 years ago, that I still benefit from. Okay, let me give you this parable. Okay, so talking about the traveler, right? So now this parable starts with this traveler traveling alone, okay, in this vast plain, okay, this very vast wilderness, traveling alone. So as he was traveling, he actually saw piles of some white objects. So he went closer, and then he saw that they were actually bones, okay, bones. So he was wondering, okay, as he was wondering, how come there are bones in this area? That was when he suddenly heard some sound, okay, and actually right behind him was a tiger, okay, was a tiger, and the tiger was actually coming for him. So what happened? What happens after that? You can imagine, right? When you see a tiger, what do? You run, right? Okay, so he started running. Okay, but he took the wrong turn, and then he ended up at the edge of a cliff. Okay, he saw, okay, at this edge of the cliff, there was actually a big pine tree. Okay, but do you think it would be good to climb up this pine tree? If you know about tigers, right, that won't help because tigers can climb trees also. Okay, so then he didn't climb the big tree. Okay, but luckily he saw this vine hanging down from this pine tree. Okay, so he clung to this vine and then he jumped down the cliff, but hanging on to the vine for his dear life. Okay, so what happened to the tiger? After seeing that, the tiger was quite smart, nothing he could do anymore, so the tiger walked away. So as this person was hanging from the vine, to his another horror, right? He saw below him was actually this big ocean. Okay? And then this big ocean actually had 3 dragons. Okay? 3 dragons. Okay? 3 colors. Okay? There was a blue dragon, there was a red dragon, there was a black dragon. Later, I'm going to ask you what they all symbolize. Okay, that's for everyone. So the dragons didn't just appear for nothing. Okay. Okay. So he knew he must not fall into this ocean. Okay. First, the ocean was deep, and secondly, there were all these dragons opening their mouths. Okay. So as he was hanging down, hanging from the vine, to his next horror, he saw that there were actually 2 mice. One black mouse and another white mouse. And they were nibbling at the vine. Okay, that's it. Okay, the story has not ended. Okay, as he was struggling. Okay, then because he was shaking so much, right? Actually, there was actually a beehive. Okay, and then the beehive started to drip some honey for him. So 1 drop, 2 drops, 3 drops, 4 drops, 5 drops, 5 drops of honey. And as he was sipping the honey, taking the honey, at that moment he forgot about his danger. Okay, end of the story. Okay, so this was actually one of our sutras. Okay, and I remember I read about. Some commentaries on this sutra, and then actually one Russian writer, he read this story as well, and then he actually said that he hadn't read anything that has so-called said so closely, okay, the reality of our human existence. Okay, so like I said, I haven't been good in literature, but I remembered our teacher teaching us about someone called Leo Tolstoy. Have you heard before? Did you all study his poem or his writings? Yeah, Russian writer. So anyway, he really liked this story, and he commented that he hasn't read any Eastern fable that has so-called described our human existence so well. Okay, so let's see whether we understand this fable, this parable, as much as this writer. Okay, now this traveler, who does he symbolize? You are sure. Okay, so you are the traveler. Okay, and a lot of times, are you traveling alone? The fact is, we come here alone, right? And we have to leave this world alone. So we are lone traveler. Okay, that one you agree, So you won't ask how come there isn't a bunch of people around with you, okay? You are alone traveling, okay? And then seeing some white bones, right? What do the bones symbolize? Yeah, all the dead people in your life, okay? Or your dead friends, relatives, whatever, okay? Or your ancestors, okay? Represent the dead people. What does the tiger symbolize? The tiger coming after him? It's actually death itself. Death or impermanence or death coming after us all the time. Can you feel that? The tiger behind you? Yeah. Okay. Death or impermanence. Okay. Then coming to this edge of the cliff, what does the pine tree symbolize? Pine tree? Yeah. Very good. How come you know? All our so-called our attachments, especially the material attachments, okay, yeah, whatever belongings. So can you can you depend on them all the time? Some of your time maybe, but not all the time. Especially in times of danger, sometimes you may not be able to depend on them. Okay, the pine tree. Okay, next, the vine. What does the vine symbolize? Vine? You are holding on to your dear life, right? In a way also, like this traveler. Okay, it can be our so-called existence, our life. Okay, yeah. So then there are the ocean. A lot of times in Dharma, we say this ocean is like this ocean of, ocean of suffering in a way. Okay, yeah. That's why we need to go across this ocean, right, to the other shore, which means what? Nibbana, right? Okay, good. So now the 3 dragons. Red color, blue color, black color. Why you all laugh when we talk about dragons? Like a bit out of the picture. So first we talk about man, we talk about tiger, we talk about pine tree, whatever we have seen. How come here we are talking about dragons that we haven't seen? Yeah. Okay. In our Mahayana scriptures, we talk about dragons quite a bit, but I think they are extinct now. They must have existed, I think. Or they cannot be seen by the human eye, but the Buddha can see them. I think so. Yeah, we talk about, the dragons in heaven, the dragons on earth, sea dragons some more. Okay, so what do the dragons symbolize? 3 colors some more. Very good. The 3 poisons, okay, in this ocean of suffering. Okay, what does the red color one symbolize? Yeah, anger, okay, or aversion. What about the blue color one? The black color one. The black color we reserve for ignorance, okay, because there's ignorance, right? No light, no wisdom. So for blue, desires or attachments, right? Okay, so these 3 dragons, they are always there, right? And then anytime we may fall into this so-called the traps of the 3 poisons. Okay, and then there are 2 more small animals. What are they? Yeah, the mice. And 1 white color, 1 black color. What do they symbolize? Very good. Day and night. Okay, eating into your life. Okay, your existence, day and night. Okay, finally, we have these 5 drops of honey. What do they symbolize? Have you read about the 5 desires? Do you know anything about the 5 desires? No? In Chinese, we say 5欲财色名食睡. Okay, 财, what is 财? Our wealth. 色, our desires. Okay, sensual desires. Okay, 名, fame, 食, food, 睡, sleep. Okay, do you agree? These are your 5 desires. Do you agree? Yeah. So it's said in our Mahayana Sutras, 5 desires. So the 5 drops of honey, okay, symbolize the 5 desires. And a lot of times, okay, so looking at this parable, right, do you think it symbolizes you and your existence? So you are so caught up with all these 5 desires that you forget that you are in a very precarious situation. Anytime you are going to yeah, you're going to either die, or if you don't die, you're going to, you're actually in a very dangerous situation, right? With all this coming for your life. Okay? So do you think you agree with this parable about your life? Or you think it's some faraway story? Okay? So talking about that, here is, in this poem, right? We find that we talk about, take the previous stanza that says, take small account of wealth and fame, whatever, right? Yeah, take small account of might, wealth, and fame, for they soon pass and are forgotten. So that's the pine. Okay, and then, so, okay, let's continue. Instead, nurture love within you and strive to be a friend to all. So we mentioned about Kalyana Mita. Truly, compassion is a balm for many wounds. Okay, so another metaphor here. So, a nice way they put it, right? Compassion is a balm for many wounds. So it can heal a lot of unhappy things, okay? A lot of wounds, so-called. Okay, next. Treasure silence when you find it, and while being mindful of your duties, set time aside to be alone with yourself. Okay, so this next question I'm going to ask you, are you afraid of silence? No? Are you afraid to be alone? No? Do you feel lonely when you're alone? Sometimes. Okay, so that's actually something for us to learn. How to be alone but not feel lonely. Yeah, I remember that this word, right? Aloneness. If you add one L somewhere, it becomes a different word. If you add another L to aloneness, what does it become? All oneness. Yeah. So in aloneness, you can experience all oneness. How's that? Yeah. Okay. So the Buddha actually encouraged Buddhists, okay, encourage all of us to always set aside time for contemplation, okay, being alone. Okay, so that then when you are with others, you can be a better friend to others. Okay, but you need to have more time for yourself. Okay, so let me check in again. Like I said, today's is more about how you apply this to your daily life. Do you have time alone for yourself? And alone, I mean alone without your handphones, etc. Okay, because a lot of times you have so many virtual friends out there, your Facebook friends. Okay, I mean just totally alone, just you and your mind. Let's say, without any other gadgets, whatever. Okay, do you have time every day? Can I have your hands? Don't have. Only one? This side, two? The rest? The rest don't have. How you spend your time? This is another problem that we face nowadays, right? Okay, yeah, I remember 2 years ago I was invited to BF, right? And then I gave this talk about the modern Maras. Okay, so I call them modern Maras. Maras means anything that distracts you from your practice, anything that distracts you from looking at your mind. Okay, so the modern Maras, we have quite a number. So if you are not careful, they will distract you, okay, from your practice, from looking within. Okay, yeah. So those of you who didn't put up your hands, I hope, okay, from today onwards, you will try your best to set time aside, just alone, just with your mind, with yourself. Okay, and even if you, in Hokkien we say 做bo, if you do nothing for that, let's say 10 minutes, it's actually encouraged. That means you just, just blank your mind, let's say, just be with the silence. Yeah, and from that space, actually, a lot of things will come out from there. You come out with a lot of so-called, maybe inspiration, maybe some wisdom, insights, whatever. How come insights is called insights? It's not outsides, right? Right? I was also giving a sharing called the only way out is in. Yeah. So for that 45 minutes, I was giving all the so all the evidences I could gather from all the Buddhist sutras about why turning in is so important. So here in this stanza, it talks about treasuring this silence, okay, when you find it. And then you tell me, 师父, I cannot find the silence, okay? But of course, you need to be responsible for all your duties, okay? I know you have, children, you have family members, okay? But it's also important that you set time aside to be alone with yourself, okay? It doesn't need to be a lot, just 5-10 minutes a day. That will be very good, okay? And then cast off pretense and self-deception and see yourself as you really are. Okay? So usually, how do we define the word wisdom? Wisdom is seeing what? Seeing things as they really are. Okay? So here it says, seeing yourself as you really are. That's when wisdom starts to arise within you. Okay? Yeah, be really true to yourself. Okay? Despite all appearances, no one is really evil. They are led astray by ignorance. Okay. Now, talking about ignorance, I always say it's very scary to be ignorant. Why do I say that? So out of the 3 poisons, right? How come ignorance is scary? So for attachments, at least you know what you're attached, right? Hopefully. Okay? Then for anger, at least you know what you're angry about. So for ignorance, you don't know what you don't know. That's the scary part, right? You don't know what you don't know. And sometimes you think you know. That's also scary. Okay? Yeah. So, what's the main cause that make us stay in samsara all the time? What's the main cause? Precisely, it's ignorance. Ignorance is the main cause, okay, for us being in samsara. If you read about the 12 dependent origination, it starts off with which thing? It's ignorance that causes us to be in this cycle of birth and death. Okay, so it's very important to try to overcome ignorance. Okay, so let me check in with you again. So, how would you rate your ignorance? Because I don't know what I don't know, so I can't rate. Do you think you are more ignorant, or do you think you are quite wise? Or you need a teacher to tell you because you don't know. Okay? Yeah. So that's why we need to hear the Dharma. That's why we need to contemplate. Besides hearing, we need to contemplate. That's when we do so-called meditations, so that we become less ignorant and become wiser. Okay? Yeah, because ignorance is the poison that keeps us in samsara. Right? So in Chinese, we translate ignorant from the Sanskrit word, right, to these 2 Chinese words. It's called Wu Ming. So it literally means no light. Okay? Or Ming in Buddhism also means wisdom. So it's either no light or no wisdom. So that's the scary part. Okay? There's no light. There's no so-called brightness, no wisdom. Okay? So I hope from today onwards you will look into your ignorance, okay, and try to eradicate any wrong views that you have and try to have more so-called wisdom, okay, that you can apply in your everyday life. Okay, good. So, if you ponder this truth often, you will offer more light rather than blame and condemnation. Okay, very good. Okay, next. You, no less than all beings, have Buddha nature within. Your essential mind is pure. Okay, so now we are talking about we all having what we call Buddha nature. Okay, so Buddha nature means that we all are Buddhas. But the difference between us and the Buddha is, I always say, we are the sleeping Buddhas. Okay? And coming to the Chinese word again. In Chinese, it's very interesting. We have the same word for sleeping and for awakening. Do you know what's that word? Yeah, it's 觉, right? Or the other word is 教. Same word, different pronunciation, different meaning, completely different meaning. So either you are 睡觉, 睡觉佛, or you are 觉悟的佛. Okay? Yeah. So do you agree you are all sleeping Buddhas? Okay? Yeah. Would you like to wake up? Okay. And how do you wake up? Same, learn the Dharma, contemplate upon the Dharma. Okay? But I think by coming to BF, you are waking up more and more, I'll say. Okay? Awakening more. Okay? So that you are more in touch with your so-called Buddha nature. Okay? So this is a very beautiful thing, okay, in our so-called Dharma, that we can all become Buddhas. We are all potentially future Buddhas. So actually that's very comforting to know. But the problem is how to get there. And then some of you may ask, when? Seems like not so soon, but we need to work towards that goal, okay? Yeah, and we all can become Buddhas one day. Okay? Good. So since the essential mind is pure, right? Therefore, when defilements cause you to stumble and fall, let not remorse nor dark foreboding cast you down. Okay? So definitely there are times when we feel down, right? Okay? But remember, you have that Buddha nature within, so continue to move on, okay? Yeah. So in Buddhism, we always say you can always so-called do repentance. Okay? Repent your mistakes and then purify your whatever karma and then you move on. Okay? So here it says, be of good cheer and with this understanding, summon strength and walk on. Okay? Very good. Okay. Yeah. Faith is like a lamp and wisdom makes the light burn bright. Okay? Another metaphor again. Okay? Faith is being likened to a lamp. Okay? It's like the light. And it's also the wisdom that makes the light burn bright. The more wisdom there is, the brighter you become. Okay? Carry this light always, and in good time, the darkness will yield and you will abide in the light. Yeah. So interestingly, here it talks about faith, right? Yeah. Okay. Faith being like a lamp. So what kind of right faith do you have? Have you thought about your faith? Let's say your faith in Buddhism. So our faith is not blind faith, right? I hope. So this faith is built upon right understanding, right? Yeah, before you can call it so-called your strong faith. It's based on all this understanding. So it's not blind faith at all. So that's the beautiful part of Dharma. Okay? Yeah. Okay. So, yeah. We have almost come to the end. Okay. So like I said, okay, the words are all simple. So it's how we apply them. Okay, that makes it practical, okay, and useful for us. Okay. Any questions so far? Any questions?
Hi, Venerable. Just curious, how do you came across this this poem?
How did I come across?
Yeah. And do you know Bhante Dhammika personally?
Good question. Good question. So I said it dates back to almost 30 years ago. Okay. So in those days, right? 30 years ago, did we have the internet? So definitely, I didn't read of this from the internet. Okay, and no one WhatsApp me in those days. Okay. So it was really from one poster that I saw. And then actually, interestingly, one of your staff working here, right? He was also from our uni days. We were from the same Buddhist society in NUS. And you know what he told me? He said, do you remember? You photocopied so many copies of the Dhammavadaka and then you gave so many people and I'm still keeping mine. So this staff, right, Chi Hao, he's still keeping his copy from 30 years ago, almost 28 to be exact, 28 years ago. It's interesting. So I just chanced upon this poem, I'll say. Okay, so, and then I like it so much that in those days, it's photocopying. And before we photocopy, to make it nicer, you know what we did? In those days, we didn't have laptops, right? What did we do? Those from my era, typewriter, right? Use the typewriter to type the words nicely in special paper. Last time you need to buy special, nice paper, right? From like Art Friend, whatever. Okay, so you buy nice paper with some scenery, and then you type the words, and then you photocopy. Yeah, in those days we had photocopying, so not that bad. Okay, so. And the author, the writer, he's remember Dhammika? He's an Australian monk. I don't know him personally. I know him, but he doesn't know me. I know him through this poem. But some of our friends actually learn from him personally. Yeah, he used to be in Singapore. Remember the book, Good Question, Good Answer? Yeah, it's written by him. I think he has a society in Singapore, if I'm not wrong. Buddha Sasana or something?
Buddha Dhamma Mandala Society.
BDMS. Are you from the society?
I'm serving there.
Serving there. Wow, good. So, has he been coming?
He's back to Australia for good.
For good,
but he's still publishing books here.
Very good. Yeah, especially his Good Question, Good Answer. I remember I was one of the judges at Awaken Challenge. It's some quiz thingy, quiz competition for tertiary youth. Okay, and then one of the texts is actually Good Question, Good Answer. Some of the questions came from there. Good. I hope one day you can invite him to Singapore. Then we get more sharing on Dhammavadaka.
He'll be coming back maybe in a few years' time.
In a few years' time? Very good. Yeah. Good. So, hope I answered your question.
Yep. Thank you.
Yeah. Any other question? So talking about that, having silence, right? Yeah. Can I check in with you? What kind of okay? Those who are already doing this, and not many hands I saw just now. So what's the object of meditation? Those who are already doing daily meditation, what's your object of meditation? Can I just ask? Breath. Counting of breath or just following the breath? Following the breath. Very good. Yeah. So the rest, would you want to find out an object of meditation that suits you, so that you can practice on a daily basis? Yeah. So personally, I've been a Buddhist for so long, right? So I've tried breath meditation, I've tried mantra meditation. So now my main meditation is I chant the Buddha's name. So the Mahayana tradition, we have the chanting of Amitabha. Amitabha means infinite light, infinite life. So just want to share with you that just last weekend, I did an overnight chanting. So it was also an 8 precepts ceremony. So they went without lunch, without dinner, right? It was only lunch, which was their last meal. Then we chanted all the way Before that, before lunch, it was 1 hour. After lunch, it was from 12 p.m., right? All the way to 7 a.m. the next day. How many hours? Can you all count for me? 12 p.m. to 7 a.m. How many? 19. Yeah, thanks for helping me count. I didn't count. So 19 hours of chanting. So actually, I was very touched by the people. There were more than 100 who attended, but I gave them a choice. They can either go to sleep after 10 p.m., 10 p.m., or they could stay back to continue the overnight chanting. So more than half stayed back. Yeah, so I was actually very touched. So if I were to ask you, what would motivate someone to do this kind of meditation, to go without food? You see, you wouldn't be having food for how many hours also? All the way also, right? From 12 all the way. So 19 hours without food, right? And then water, okay, just plain water is fine. Okay? And then, yeah, just the chanting. What would motivate someone to do that? Those who don't understand will think that it's quite crazy, right? So let's say when you all stay overnight, what motivates you? World Cup. Yeah. So what would motivate you to do that? Yeah. Faith. That's good, huh? The faith that it will do you good. Yeah. Yeah. So actually, there's so much that you get out of from looking within, actually. But it's not easy because we are now in this world that has so many external kind of distractions. So more and more we have forgotten how it's like, to turn in. So I really hope, even if you have forgotten the whole poem, try to remember, okay, to turn in, as much as you can per day. Okay, I guarantee, okay, it will do you good. Okay, yeah. Someone wanted to ask some question?
Anyone else? Questions that you want to ask?
Thank you, Sifu, for your discourse. Just now you mentioned about that story about the traveler. And the first time I came across this story was actually in a Christian literature, kind of like criticizing the so-called Oriental outlook of things. Because the story ended with a traveler sipping honey. And it's like the traveler is stuck in such a precarious situation, and the only solution is to drink honey. There's no solution, unlike like a savior that comes in and saves the traveler. So, yeah, and the story ends just like that. It's not like a nice story. I mean, you're stuck in a bad situation and you're drinking honey. Yeah. So what are your thoughts about that? Yeah.
That's why I feel that people who are attracted to Buddhism, right, somehow you have in a way, different understanding, I'll say, that you can accept the Four Noble Truths when you come in, right? Right? Those who, I have like friends, especially during my school days, I have friends who tried, when I was in uni days, I said I was from the Buddhist Society, so I was one of the committee members, so we were trying to, encourage all our classmates, right, to come and attend some of our talks and our so-called Dharma camps, etc. So there were really friends who just cannot, they say not nice, like what you said, like the way we talk about things, to them is pessimistic, to them it's just not nice, it's not happy, to get in touch with such teachings. So they would not want to come in. But for those who have so-called come into Buddhism, right, and come to hear the teachings and come to apply the teachings, you would agree that these are aspects of life that are practical, I would say. They are true and practical, right? Can I say that? Can you deny that all these are happening? Right? So let's say with the audience here, coming back to this parable, okay. So I would like to ask for your hands again, okay? Do you agree that this is a good, like what the Russian writer said, right? This captures our so-called reality, okay, in an accurate way? Can I have your hands? Mostly, right? Okay, I like to ask the other way around. Okay, who don't agree? Who don't agree? It's like a bit lopsided or whatever. Who don't agree? Don't feel pressurized, okay? You can choose to be different. Or your views can be different. Can I have your hands? Don't have, yeah, okay. Can I know which part of it? Any part of it that you don't think it captures the truth, the reality?
I think it just puts the negativity and makes it just appear a bit too severe. I mean, it's a parable for life. It's just what it is.
Mm-hmm.
And once you accept it, then it's really how you want to get yourself out of it.
Sorry, my question was...
well, you were saying what part is not true. To me, it's just making it sound too negative. All the dangers when it's really just life.
Mm-hmm. Okay, yeah. Thanks for your sharing. Yeah, but majority would say that this is the truth of life. Okay, but that's why we never stop at the first two noble truths, right? What are the first two noble truths again? Life is suffering, dukkha, or dissatisfaction, dissatisfactory. Okay, and then the causes for life being dissatisfactory. We don't stop at these two, right? Yeah. So sorry, the parable stopped at digging the honey. Maybe we should add some parts to it, the last part to it. Okay. But we have the third noble truth. There's an end to all this. Okay. And lastly, that's the path leading to the end of this. Okay. So okay, next time we shall add some more, the last part to this parable. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Good. So there's definitely hope here. Okay. So anyway, this parable is to help us awaken more, okay, to this reality, so that we can then do more about it. Okay, we can then do more about it. Any other questions? How much time do we have? Almost time.
Hello, Venerable Jian Xin Wei.
Yes.
My question is, you're talking about turning in, that means do more meditation, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that we can gain the wisdom. But meditation to me is not easy. It is like just now sitting 5 minutes, right? Count the breath. After counting until 7, thoughts starts flooding in. So it's like, instead of focusing on the breath, there are many thoughts which we are supposed to. How do we, bring the mind back to the breath and
Yes.
do away with all these thoughts?
Yeah.
Because it's distracting the meditation process, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Is there an easier way? I mean, I know practice makes perfect, but
Yeah. Actually, it's not surprising, because if we look at that 5 minutes, right, and then we compare with the 23 hours and 55 minutes of our life. So usually, these are the 23 hours and 55 minutes of our life. How is the mind like? Even while you're sleeping, right? How's your mind like? You're still dreaming, right? Working, dreaming, whatever, right? Yeah. Okay. So this is exactly the untrained mind. That's how it's like. It's like a monkey mind. It's all over. So either it's like a monkey, or it's like the other metaphor is like a elephant. Very heavy. Okay, which means it's drowsy. So who experienced monkey mind just now? Yeah, quite a number. Who experienced elephant mind just now? You had to wake up earlier than than you hope on a Sunday morning. Yeah. Okay, so you already said it. Practice makes perfect. It's because we have very little practice. Yeah. So during the talk, when I was sharing about the only way out is in, I was sharing about there's this 9 stages, okay, 9 stages of mental training in our Mahayana tradition, right? Whereby we talk about the different stages, okay, to lead to right concentration. So the very first step is turning in. You start by turning in. Then you can talk about having prolonged periods of turning in. Yeah. So you are just at the first stage, which is good. You are at the beginning, whereby you are starting to turn in. At least you are trying. Okay? So it takes a lot of practice on a daily basis before you find that your 5 minutes, 10 minutes, or even more, right? You can actually subdue your thoughts. And then they don't distract you that much. Thoughts will always be there, okay? But they will become lesser in terms of the intensity. And then maybe the number of thoughts. Okay? Yeah. So the other analogy I'd like to give is, let's say if we shake a can of sand, okay, you put sand in a can and then you shake it. And if you shake it in a very noisy place, how's the sound compared to when you shake it in a very quiet place? How's the difference? You shake a can of sand in a noisy place and in a quiet place. So in a noisy place, would it be that obvious? Since it's noisy, right? But in a quiet place, it becomes very obvious, right? So same. So it doesn't mean that that 5 minutes, your mind became very distracted because of that 5 minutes. It has always been that distracted. Just that we don't realize it. So when we intentionally silence our mind, that's when we realize how noisy our mind is. Okay? And then now with so much information overloading, so many things that we can, information, etc., that we can get from all the sources. So all the more so-called distracted our mind is. Because we are always focusing outwards, right? Yeah. Okay? So for you, I will suggest you do this more often. Yeah. Okay? Then just 5 minutes. So you start to enjoy it more and more. Then when you are better at it, then you can prolong the time. Okay? I'm sorry to say there's no shorter way or quicker way, whatever. Okay? Yeah. Because the breath is it's actually one of the easiest ways as an object of meditation. Since you breathe all the time, right? Yeah. So I'll say counting our breath is good for beginners. So because there are different ways, right? There's also following the breath. But for a start, we have another focus, which is the counting. Let the mind has another job of counting, besides focusing on the breath. Okay? Yeah, I hope to hear from you one day. Maybe, hopefully in a few months' time, you share with me. Would you like to do it on a daily basis, the counting of breath? Okay? Good. Yes?
You have one last question.
Good afternoon, Venerable. My question is in relation to the story of the travelers again. I have heard of the similar question by Ajahn Brahm. It's not identical, but it's somewhat similar. And the takeaway that I had, from Ajahn Brahm is that when we face with life adversities, there's still some degree of, sweetness when the 5 drops of honey came down. And basically it's to live for the present moment and enjoy that drops of honey. So I would like to hear your thoughts on, this. Thanks.
Yeah, very good. Yeah, so there's actually many ways to interpret this one, and it's good to hear that Ajahn Brahm also actually said something similar, not identically but similarly. Okay, so it's also about living in the present moment and embracing what you have in the present moment. So just now we gave the parable, and then we give the analogy for the 5 drops of honey, right? It's also about the 5 desires, let's say. Okay, so the fact that they are desires, and desires are also part of the reasons why we are here in samsara as well. Okay, so maybe let's explore the 5 desires a little bit more during this last part of our session. Okay, so first we talk about, let's say, wealth, the desire for wealth. Okay, so here we are not saying to have enough money to keep you going. We are talking about accumulating more wealth than you need, let's say. Okay, but having said that, sometimes we say we don't know how much is enough also. We need to save up more in case we need them, whatever, right? But you know what I mean, okay, in terms of so-called the accumulation of wealth, and then what some people do because they want to accumulate more wealth. They may go the wrong ways, etc., right? Okay, so wealth, definitely for sensual desires. See, all the problems come about because we cannot so-called control our desires, sensual, sexual desires, etc. Okay, fame as well, fame, reputation. How we sometimes, if we are not careful, we may be led astray. Okay, and okay, food and sleep. Definitely we need them. Okay, food and sleep. But we know when we are overindulging in them. Okay, food and then sleep. Okay, yeah. So that's one way of looking at it. But you shared that Ajahn Brahm's way of looking at it is also good. As in, like, a lot of times, especially while we are still here in samsara, it's also important that we try to flow with life as well, right? Yeah, we can't be, depending on the conditions that we are in. So especially you are all lay people here, right? We can't expect you to be meditating 8 hours a day, right? Okay, and the 19-hour session, you can't be doing this all the time as well, right? So you can only do as much as you can, okay, in your daily life. Yeah, but you need to be aware. Whatever we shared today, is good to be aware of the situation that you are in. So the parable is more to remind us, okay? Same for this poem, right? To just be constant reminders for us so that we don't be too complacent with our life, and then we don't so-called overindulge in things that don't bring us to enlightenment. So I remember one of my teachers in Taiwan. He has been ordained for more than 30 years. So he always shared this sentence with us. Okay, I'll say in Chinese first. Okay, he says, 宁愿出家苦苦恼恼，也不要在家快快乐乐. Okay, so I'll translate. He says, actually, in a way, right, it's better to be a monk or nun, but feeling like not feeling not so good all the time, okay, 苦苦恼恼, having a lot of so-called afflictions or whatever, 烦恼, etc., okay, compared to being a so-called lay person, but so-called being happy as a lay person. Do you know what this teacher is trying to express here? Do you get it? Do you agree? Okay, when so-called as a monk, let's say, or nun, when you are so-called suffering, but do you know that our suffering is to lead us to end of suffering? Can we say that? But as a lay person, even if you are happy, right? If you are happy, is it leading you to so-called eternal happiness and end of suffering? Something for you to ponder, right? Okay. Sometimes it's so difficult to be a Sangha member, okay? But we know that whatever suffering we face is worth it because we are working towards enlightenment. So whatever happiness that you are experiencing, okay, you treasure whatever you have, whatever happiness, but you must know that these are not lasting. Okay? And then all the more you should strive towards what we call eternal happiness, which is only gained through enlightenment. Okay? So for you to be reminded and then to look at your life more introspectively, okay, and knowing that one day, okay, what are the things that you are going to bring with you to your next life, let's say. To always have your next life in consideration, not to just live life, only for this present period. I think that if I'm not wrong, some master, don't know whether it was His Holiness the Dalai Lama, some master shared that, if you are Buddhist, but you never have your next life in consideration when you practice, then you are not a real Buddhist. Can we say that? Can we say that? Or you choose to differ? So even for those who are not sure whether there's a next life, okay, since the Buddha said that, right? So let's try to have faith in this aspect of it, even though we can't prove it for ourselves. But try to have faith in that, and then have your next life as your consideration. So if I do all this, would it help me in my next life? And how would my next life look like? Yeah. Okay. So for me, I've looked into all these questions since very young. Since 10 years old, I'm thinking of, let's say, death already. Yeah. So by 15, I met the Dharma. I've been really thinking hard about this problem. Yeah, because I remember I read these teachings from maybe the Tibetan Book of Living and Dying. It says something like, human beings spend all their lives preparing, only to meet their next life unprepared. Do you think it's true for you? Human beings spend all their lives preparing, only to meet their next life unprepared. Okay. So it's so important. So for me, I ordained as a nun so that I can practice in a more so-called full-time basis. Okay, so hopefully I can, learn some more, practice some more, so that I think I can I'll be more prepared for my next life. Okay, so personally, my practice is to be reborn in the Buddha's Pure Land, Amitabha Buddha's Pure Land, because I have complete faith in Shakyamuni Buddha's words, that there's also this Pure Land that we can choose to be reborn in, and then we practice some more over there, and then we can gain enlightenment over there. So I have faith in that, and so that's something that I'm striving towards. Yeah. And I think that's what motivates, let's say, the students I mentioned, right, to do like 19 hours of chanting. I think they have that faith as well. Okay? Yeah, so before we end, I would like you to also think more about your next life, okay, and then to look at this life and how to be prepared for your next life. Okay? Very good. Yeah. That's all? Okay. You all have dedication? Okay. Just a simple dedication. So, like I said, today's Dharma, anyway, time is quite short. We can't go very deep. But with all the sharing today, my wish is that all of you get some takeaway, make you ponder more about your life, and make you try to be a Kalyana Mitra to all the people around you, to be their spiritual friend, to be their noble friend, to try to encourage them, all the people in your life, to do more good, to cease all evil, to purify your mind, and to follow the Buddha's teachings in the best ways that they can. Okay, so with this, we dedicate the merits to all of you present, to all your loved ones, to all sentient beings, including all the sentient beings in all the 6 realms. May you all be enlightened one day and be free from suffering. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.
Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. We all offer 3 respect, 3 bows to Venerable. Thank her for the teachings today.